Hey, what's up? Today we're talking about how to put personal branding into action. That's right, the steps to take after you've identified what your personal brand is. Check it out. Hey, what's up? Welcome to Brands on Brands. I'm Brandon Birkmeyer, your personal branding coach, and I believe that building a brand that matters is the only way for a business to thrive tomorrow. Appreciate you guys tuning in as we talk about personal branding in action. Before we get into it, if you guys are looking to build your personal brand, one of my best tips is to start your own content creation, start your own podcast. And if you are interested in that, I've created a free podcast starter kit for you guys to download. Just go to brandsonbrands.com/starter kit to check that out. All right, now let's get into the show. Personal branding in action. Let's start off with what is branding and kind of get that definition out of the way, because this will help us tell you what to do to take those steps after you've built it, right? So branding in itself is really all about your reputation. It's the act of creating your reputation. It's the act of building your reputation. Now, what most people do is they sit down, they write out what their identity is, what their values are, their mission, their vision, which is an important exercise for companies. But what a lot of people do is they stop there, right? They've identified what they stand for, their values, and their vision for how they're going to get there. And then they stop. And what they do is they spend time on building their business, right? They go out, they do the sales, they do the meet and greets, and they get their message out there and they try to sell people on what their offer is. But the branding part has been left on the table. Now, to get to where you want to be in terms of taking action, instead of just building it and leaving it alone, if you want to be taking action, some of the steps you have to take are going to involve a couple of things. And that's what we're going to get into today. So if you want to get your reputation out there, there's a couple of things that matter. Well, first off, your reputation involves the opinion of others, right? Your reputation involves the opinion of others. So it's your job to give them something to have an opinion about. And then the other thing is that opinion has to be scaled amongst a lot of people. In other words, if only one person knows who you are, what you stand for, then it's not really a brand. It's just something that you identify with. It's not something you've created a reputation for. So it actually has to be shared in a way that a lot of people over time have an ability to form an opinion about it. So let's think about those two things, right? It's a lot of opinions from outside people that are shared and spread, okay? So to take action towards that, there's two steps you can take. There's two actions you can take every day to put that personal brand out there and build your reputation. One is to share ideas, and two is to create experiences. Now let's dive into those. Sharing ideas is you taking the perspective that you formed that comes from your mission, comes from your values, comes from your vision, taking those ideas that come from that, taking the perspective that comes from that, and putting it out there into the world. This is usually in the form of creating content, but it can also be in the form of just speaking, which is also content shared in a different way, right? So it's you communicating your ideas, you sharing those ideas. So that communication can come with either you putting blogs out or podcasts out or videos out or ebooks or lead magnets or books on a lot of cases, or are you getting out there and you sharing your ideas in a way where you are talking to people one-on-one at a networking event, or you're speaking on a stage, or you're at a workshop, or you are literally on a call with someone that's like a discovery call or a consultation call. All of those opportunities are places where you are sharing your ideas one-on-one or one-to-many with people that are interested. And you sharing those ideas gives them something to create a judgment around. It gives them something to say, that's for me or that's not for me. It gives them something to say, I relate to that, and this is something I need in my business. But before you share those ideas, you didn't have that experience, that shared connection. So what I would suggest is to get out there and start getting into the practice of creating content. Start every week turning a recording device on or writing on a piece of paper ideas and thoughts you have about your industry, about questions that come up all the time in your business. Answer those questions, share those ideas, talk about trends that are happening in the industry, and put that out there. When you get comfortable, I mean, the first time you record a couple of things, you could just save it, delete it until you get comfortable with the output of that experience. But when you do get comfortable, start to share those ideas, put it on your blog or your website, put it on a podcast player, put it on a YouTube channel, send it to your clients in the form of an email summary. Whatever it might be, share those ideas, because you sharing those ideas puts you in a new place in terms of the positioning of yourself in the mind of your clients. You are now no longer someone who's just doing work. You are someone who's sharing ideas. Those ideas will put you in the light of not just executioner, but thought leader, right? Your clients are always going to have questions. Can you be the one who answers them? That's the sharing ideas component. And this is how you start to put your brand into action so people can form opinions and share those ideas with other people. The second step is creating experiences, right? Now, what we've learned over time is that if you want loyalty from a customer, if you want people to keep coming back, if you want to be differentiated from other brands in your industry, you have to create some type of shared meaningful experience with you and your clients, or with you and your potential clients. And there's lots of ways to do that. But what it does involve is you being present, you taking an action, and that action being received by another person. Now, the earliest first thing that most people do when they're starting a business is they start networking. That networking is an environment for you to create experiences. It's a handshake, it's a hello, it's you describing how you help people, it's you being curious about someone else's business, you relating to what those problems are, you suggesting that you might have an answer, whatever that might be, or at least letting them know that you help certain types of people in a certain industry so that if they ever need that, they know who to go to, or they know who to refer people to if that's something that comes up. That networking experience is your first opportunity to create an experience that's you and someone else interacting together in a meaningful way. Another opportunity is to have an event, some type of conference or anything that you would host. It could just be a party or a get together or a happy hour or a gathering. You bringing people together, even just for a lunch, where you invite 3, 4, 5 people together. That event is an experience that you create that people will recognize that you were the person who sent the invitation. You could be the host, or you could just be the person that sent the invitation. Either way, you're curating an experience that brought people together. And that experience leads people to start to build an opinion about you, because in that experience, you had conversations, you had exchanges, and they had exchanges with other people. Even if they didn't interact with you, let's say you threw a party with 100 people and they never got to talk to you, other than even just a hello. That experience, if they had a good time, they would associate the people they met, the conversations they had, and any relationships that they gained, they would attribute that to you because you created the experience. That builds reputation. That is you putting your personal brand into action. A couple other opportunities is for you to create some type of workshop, you to create some type of learning experience, or some type of a workshop where you take people from A to B, where you solve a problem. You know, before this workshop, you didn't have this thing solved, and after you did, we accomplished something in this journey together. There's some type of transformation. You go from not having to having in this workshop. You creating that environment for them to accomplish something or to learn something is another type of experience that you can be in charge of, you can create. And it can be you as a teacher, or it could be you, again, curating other experts in to teach. And all of those teachings from other people even are associated with you because you curated the experience, right? So workshops is another great way. And another one I'll throw out there just to kind of wrap this up is a simple phone call. A simple phone call, a Zoom call, a live chat, one-on-one or one to few, is an experience that you can create that's meaningful to the people on the other side of the screen, right? A phone call or a Zoom call or a video conference is a way for you to talk to someone, to get to know them better, to understand who they are, what they're building, what their goals are, what their challenges are. And in that experience, you're going to do a couple things. One, you're going to learn who they are and you're going to reflect that back to them so they understand that you know who they are and the challenges they face. The better you are at communicating that you understand who they are, what they need, and what problems they're up against and how to solve them, the better you are at building these relationships and creating these experiences. At the beginning, they might not even need a solution. They just want to know that you understand who they are and what their problems are, or what they're trying to build, what their goals are. If you can be someone who understands that on a discovery call or on a conference call, then you can start to suggest that, hey, thanks for telling me about you. Here's a little bit about what I do. I help these types of people. And they may make the connection that something you offer is something that they need, or something that they could refer to someone else to solve. But that call, that interaction, is the first step. You're creating an experience that is going to create a relationship and a reputation of, I know now what this person does better than I did before the call. That's one more person's opinion that then can be someone who spreads that information to other people, right? Especially, here's a little hack for you. If the people you are talking to on the call are influential or influencers in their space, right? They're either influential or they're influencers in their space. If you talk to those people and let them know what you do, and you create a meaningful relationship with them, they can be huge in creating your reputation amongst the people that they connect with, right? Being that person that they know, the go-to guy for, or the number one business for a certain type of skill or for a certain type of solution is going to be huge, especially if they have a lot of people that look to them for advice. So those are my two pieces of advice to you for taking action in terms of your personal brand. After you've built your identity, what do you do to put it into place? Go out there, take action by sharing ideas. That's creating content, speaking, etc., and creating experiences. Going out there, getting involved with people one-on-one. One of my best ways to do both of those things, if you have the time and dedication to do it, is to create a podcast. A podcast lets you create content in solo form or in one-on-one. And if you're bringing people on to interview them, to talk about their businesses, you're also creating an experience with them. They can become people that refer you, or they can become clients. A podcast is a great way to just go from random conversation to a curated experience that you control. Podcast builds content, builds relationships. If you can do both of those things, your business is going to go so much further, especially if it's a personal brand business that relies on your reputation in terms of how you show up and how you serve people. And if you guys need help with something like that, we have lots of tips. You can get my personal podcasting starter kit at brandsonbrands.com/starter kit. It's all part of the Podcast Branding Academy that I've built that has both freebies like the one I've just talked about, a starter kit, as well as self-study courses and coaching if you guys need more than that. So I'd encourage you to check it out if you're out there trying to build your brand and put it into action. It's something I've got out there for you. Otherwise, just keep on listening to the podcast. We'll keep giving you information for free every week. And we appreciate you listening as always. And we will catch you next time. Brands on Brands.